Hello there friends and welcome. For today's Elden Ring guide we have everything about the best Lightning Dragon Priest caster build. And the Shadow of the Erdtree DLC actually enhanced our playstyle with lots of new bonuses, even a new dragon shape transformation. As a Dragon Priest Faith caster you'll have lightning spells for everything, including how to easily melt and fry even the larger, wider, tougher enemies like dragons in complete seconds, followed by great close range potential as well as you just smite the enemies from above with your very powerful lightning spears, and of course amazing mid and long range sniping spells for everything you could want in a neat little package, with the addition of stance breaks and free criticals. And as always, we'll be doing it my classic face tanking style even against the hyper aggressive DLC bosses, so you get to spam your lightning spells at will. So without further ado, let us get into our Dragon Coat Lightning Caster build. First, I wanna start with the best lightning spells for any situation, especially against bosses. And we might as well begin with one of the best new lightning spells added by the DLC. Knight's Lightning Spear. It's pretty much a big upgrade over the normal Lightning Spear. When you cast the spell, you'll not only fire a big Lightning Spear, but also conjure minor crests around your character that will fire other minor Lightning Spears, for a total of even 6, which of course means a great amount of damage and nice stance breaking potential. This is definitely your new best tool for mid and also long range, especially useful against the enemies that keep moving away from you. Another great benefit is that so long as you start casting the spell, even if you get interrupted, as long as you conjure the crests, they'll still fire the minor spears, even if you get interrupted out of the most powerful one. Besides that, we have the classic Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike, still an amazing incantation and your best spell against the bigger, larger, wide enemies, as whenever you cast it, you'll smite a big area around you with lots of lightning bolts. And the bigger the enemy's hitbox, the higher the chances of them being hit by multiple bolts of lightning per single cast. While the casting speed is somewhat slow, I'll soon explain a way of overcoming that just fine for face tanking and spell spamming purposes. Trust me, against the bigger enemies, this will just destroy them. They don't have to be a dragon, enemies on horseback as well, like Commander Gaius, or even bigger enemies like Radahn. Of course, it won't do much at medium and long range, but for that we already have Knight's Lightning Spear. While you'll always have Ancient Dragon's Lightning for the DLC, it is somewhat of a late main game spell, so for the earlier parts of the main game, you can always make use of Frozen Lightning Spear instead. This is unique in that it's the only lightning spell in the game that can also inflict the very nasty Frostbite debuff, which of course increases all damage the enemies take. Anyways, another great benefit of this spell is that it's multi-hit. When you first cast it, after the initial impact, the lightning will keep on spreading in a line, so it can hit bigger enemies twice. But besides proccing Frostbite, you are definitely better served with Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike later. Now, I'm also a fan of Physick's Lightning Spear. When you cast this, you get to smite the enemies with 2 very big and very powerful lightning spears. It's a very close range spell, however, but if both spears hit, the damage is quite good, the same for the stance breaking potential. Of course, you might as well prefer Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike even at close range, but Physick is still a possibility if you like it. It does look very cool as well. Last but not least, don't forget with this build you'll still be a full Faith caster, which of course means you can use all the other Faith spells in the game. They won't be as thematic, however, but some of them really stand out, and I already have a best Faith spells guide we can check to the side here, where I cover them in depth, but to put it simply, Scarlet Aeonia to easily proc Scarlet Rot with one cast, and most importantly Grail's Roar. It fits a Dragon Priest build, and well, it's very easy to hit enemies with it because it hits all around you, and will debuff bosses with a very nasty increase to damage taken and also a very rare decrease 2 damage dealt, so it's a must-have overall. Anyways, my final spell list for this character is Golden Vow for buffing, Blessing of the Air Tree for regeneration, Black Flames protection or just eat a boiled crab, Scarlet Aeonia for Scarlet Rot, Grail's Roar for debuffing, and our main lightning spells, Nice Lightning Spear for mid and long range, and Ancient Dragons for close range and the bigger enemies. Now, before getting into the level up section, I just want to cover a very new, fun and interesting mechanic the DLC added, because now you actually get to transform into a dragon shape. In order to transform, you'll need first the Priestess Heart item, which has infinite uses. To actually activate it, however, you cannot be equipped with any armor at all. After that, it's just a matter of using it, and there we go. The main benefit of the dragon shape, well, besides being very fashionable for a dragon priest, is that if you activate the Priestess Heart item again while already transformed, you'll get a 60-second buff that empowers all Dragon Code spells, that's all the lightning incantations, by 20%, a very nice amount. The form does have pretty crippling downsides, however. First, you cannot equip any armor under the effect, which of course means your damage negation will suffer a lot because it's barely better than being naked. At the very least, by virtue of no armor, you'll always be at light load, so you can always light roll for the maximum invincibility frames. And the only way it will go away is upon death. While it does look great, I'd much rather go with armor, because the DLC also added a very powerful new armor set for lightning priests, the Death Knight set. Every single piece will increase your Dragon Code spells, so the lightning ones, by 2% for a total of +8. It's not the 20% from the dragon transformation, but will provide you with much higher damage negation, which of course increases your face tanking potential for more spell spammage, and also lets you make more mistakes against boss battles and still live to tell the tale. Also, by virtue of being a permanent buff unless you unequip your armor, you won't have to reactivate it, unlike the dragon transformation buff, which is only 60 seconds. Now, you might already be asking, how can you possibly cast all of these spells against the hyper-aggressive DLC bosses? And the answer is very simple, as always, the Endure Ash of War. I've covered it many times in the past before, but by activating it, you'll have a huge increase to damage negation and also close to full stagger invulnerability. So by properly chaining Endure uses with your spells, you can just keep face tanking enemies and spamming even the charged, more powerful lightning spells just fine. Now let us get into stat allocation and level up for our Dragon Code Lightning Priest. Faith, of course, is your most important stat. Ideally, you want 80 for the soft cap and the highest damage with your lightning spells, followed by the classic 60 Vigor for a boost to your face tanking potential, 17 Arcane so you can use the Grail's Roar Dragon debuff, but this also qualifies you for other nice faith spells like Blood Flame Talons. Strength and Dexterity only if you want to equip a specific weapon, but this build doesn't need them at all. You can get by with daggers just fine. After all, you're all about lightning spells. Besides that, you can spend the rest of the points into Mind for higher FP. 20 at the beginning, but later, ideally up to 40. Depending on how high you want to level this character. Endurance is not needed at all, no matter the situation. First, if you're going with the Dragon transformation, you'll always be at light load. Second, if you're using the Death Knight set I mentioned before, you can still have medium load with even around 10 endurance, but something like 15 won't hurt. Alright, now let us cover gear for our ultimate Dragon Code Lightning Priest build. For weapons, the classic Misericord Dagger. For its high critical potential, some of your spells can stance break enemies if you cast them fast enough. And well, it has very low requirements. Plus, it is here that you'll slap your Endure Ash of War on for maximum spell spammage while face tanking. Now, there is also something to be said about the new Flowerstone Gavel weapon. Its unique skill, Flower Dragon Bolt, can debuff the enemy's lightning damage resistance. by around 10% if you just activate it, or up to 15% if you charge it. It's just that I highly dislike how short the debuff's duration is, only 20 seconds, which means you'll have to constantly reactivate it during battle. The same is not true for our Grail's Roar Dragon debuff, which lasts 1 minute. And don't forget, Grail's Roar also debuffs the enemy's damage. Besides that, just a Sacred Seal, and we'll be going with the Gravelstone Seal because it will increase your lightning spell damage, as they are all Dragon Coat Incantations. And yes, you can dual wield this seal with another of the same type, at least in New Game Plus, which will result in higher damage, but I personally would much rather have Endure, because it's what lets you get your spell spammage going. For armor it's very simple, either the Dragon Transformation or of course the Death Knight set. Now let's get into Talismans. And as always I went with a mix between extra offenses and defenses. The Dragon Crest Great Shield for the highest bonus to physical damage negation, especially useful for the dragon shape, followed by Godfrey's Icon, which increases the damage of your charged spells, and both the Knight's Lightning Spear and Ancient Dragon's Lightning Strike have more powerful effects when charged. Radagon's Icon for faster casting speed, and the remaining slot is up to you. You can go with the Kindred of Rot's Exaltation for higher damage when inflicting Scarlet Rot, which is very easy with the Scarlet Aeonia spell, the Phlox Canvas Talisman, which is always in effect, but at a lesser potency than Kindred of Rot's Exaltation, even another defensive option like Golden Braid, amazing for the final boss of both the main game and the DLC. For consumables, the Priestess Heart of course if you want the dragon shape, Boiled Crab for higher physical damage negation, and Iron Jar Aromatic can help in some battles, as it will make you unstaggerable, and unlike Endure, the duration is much higher so you won't have to spam it. Just remember that this prevents you from running, which can make a few attacks like Radagon's Comet Strikes kinda hard to avoid, and they are very, very damaging. Now let's cover our Wondrous Physick Mix Flask effects. First, the Opaline Heart Ear for extra defenses of all types, amazing for the dragon shape, and then the Lightning Shrouding Cracked Ear for higher lightning damage. If you want to min-max damage, however, replace Opaline Heart Ear for the Blood-Sucking Cracked Ear. As for Great Runes, just Morgoths as usual for extra face tanking potential by virtue of higher HP. Well, alright friends, so this was it for our ultimate Lightning Caster Dragon Coat Priest build. If you found this guide useful, as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and also consider becoming a channel member if you can. I really appreciate your support. Thank you for watching, and see you next time, friends.